Hella classics.
This is Knives on the track.
Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Alex, the father of the Deputy Tribe. I would like to talk about something today, that is very interesting and very relevant to our times. We live in a society right now where there's a lot of chaos and there's a lot of uncertainty of how our government is supposed to function and what is the role of our government and just all that. So I think it's something that we need to go back to the basic. And that for us to be able to understand and have a solid foundation, that will help us to move forward. So the title of this video is going to be The Foundation of All Laws. What is the foundation of the law of the United States? Every nation has a constitution, which is just stating, it is a written document that is stating how the country is going to operate. So that's what it is. And so as I was reading the Declaration of Independence, something stuck out to me. So I just figure, hey, let me just share it with you guys. Okay, so with that being said, let me just read the Declaration of Independence to you. It says, when in the course of human event, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political band which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the law of nature and of nature's God entitled them, a decent respected to the opinion of mankind requires that they should declare the cause which impelled them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that there are these rights, government are instituted among men, deriving the just power from the consent of the governed. So we all know, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and are endowed by their Creator. We know that part. But the first paragraph really sets up the foundation of our laws. And it's very important because Europe is on their, I can't even count as far as their constitution go. America is still on their first one after over 250 years now. I think it's very important. So in order to have a stable and just society, you need to have a stable and just foundation. And it's only when that foundation begins to crumble, we see society also fall along with it. With that being said, is that the part that says, among the powers of the earth, the separate and equal station to which the law of nature and of nature God entitled them. Well, what is the law of nature and nature's God? Whenever you are in a debate or talking to someone, words matter. So one of the things that I like to do is always have people define their words. And that right there will save a lot of confusion, because sometimes you may think it's one thing, but they may be using it as something else. So it's important. So why don't we look at what the founding fathers were referring to when they said that the law of nature and of nature's God entitled them to. So what I recommend is, bam, Webster 1828 dictionary, the best dictionary in the world. I highly recommend it. Look it up. It is worth every single penny. So the law of nature, it says, it is a rule of conduct arising out of the natural relation of human beings, established by the Creator, and exists prior to any positive precept. Thus, it is the law of nature that is that one man should not injure another, and murder and fraud would be crime independent of any prohibition from its supreme power. And then the law of nature's God is the moral law. A law which prescribes to men their religious and social duties in other words, their duties to God and to each other. The moral law is similarly contained in the Decalogue, or the Ten Commandments, written by the fingers of God. The finger of God on 2 tablets of stone and delivered to Moses on Mount Sinai. So the law of nature. The law of nature is intuitive and instinctively, meaning that it is within your conscious. So let's take a kid, right? A 2-year-old kid who takes another kid toy and then immediately runs away. Why? Is because he knows instinctively and intuitively that he just did something wrong. He just stole. So because of that, he is doing what he knows, is to run away and to justify what he did. So he runs away because he knows that he's done something wrong by stealing the other kid's toys. And then the law of nature's God is the written law, which is the Bible. The founding fathers understood that. So they said that the law of nature and of nature's God is the highest court of law. Okay? It goes God's law and then man's law. Okay? But there is a difference, and there is an order that we all need to follow in order to have a stable and just government. Let's use that as a test to look at certain laws today. And the first law that I would like to use is abortion. Abortion is probably the most talked about political topic, right? We all want to talk about it and why it's right and why it's wrong and why it's constitutional and why it's not constitutional. Okay, so why don't we use that? Well, abortion. What is abortion? And does abortion follow the principle of the law of nature and of nature's God? Well, let's look at it. Abortion is what? Abortion is murder. Abortion is murdering and taking the life of someone else. It does not fit the law of nature, which is in our conscience, but also nature's God, which is the written word of God. The 10 Commandments, thou shalt not commit murder. So it violates both of those. So abortion is not constitutional because it does not follow the principle of the law of nature and of nature's God. The Supreme Court in 1973 deemed it to be the law of the land. So it is very important to understand the roles of our government. The Supreme Court said that it was constitutional. Well, let's put that against the principle of the Constitution. The highest is the law of nature and of nature's God, which is God, right? So is that constitutional? It's not. So even their opinion does not supersede God's word, but also supersedes our principle. So it fails there. And also Congress. Congress have made laws making abortion legal through certain stages and this and that. The law of nature and of nature's God, that also violates that also because it's still murder. Here is the thing. Civil law is only valid when it conforms to the law of nature and of nature's God. It's only valid as a constitutional law when it conforms to the law of nature and of nature's God. Anything else is strictly power. It is. It's not constitutional. So that's something that we must understand. Another issue that I would like to talk about is in the second paragraph, it says that we all know life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that to secure these rights, government are instituted among men. Government are supposed to secure our rights. They are to not provide social service for us. They are to not make provisions for special groups or just anyone. They are to protect our God-given rights. Let's use that as a test. Let's look at healthcare. Why don't we look at food stamp, right? Is that constitutional? No, it's not. Because the government is taking money from one group of people and giving it to another group of, what is that? Well, I'm just gonna have to say it, it's stealing. So let's take a kid, right? A 2-year-old kid who takes another kid toy to justify what he did. So he runs away because he knows that he's done something wrong by stealing the other kid's toys. It really is. It's stealing. The government is stealing money without the consent of someone else and giving it to someone else. That is stealing. We have come so far as a nation because we have drifted away from the Constitution and what our founding fathers wrote. Those were just examples that I hope will help you guys to just think a little bit. And I will be putting more videos up about our documents. So please, guys, comment below, write down questions, and I will try to answer them on my next video feed. So yeah, so just thank you, and yeah, that's it. Then boop, God with a baby in my hand, right? Okay. Okay. I will try to talk slow. To not let that happen.